To see you here in response to Governor Newsom's State of the State. I just want to say, again, the governor has started off by talking about federal and Republicans at the federal level failing to address the issues we have here in California. We have the crime out of control. We have inflation out of control. He spent hundreds of millions of dollars in California, and he's got nothing to show for it. $24 billion for homelessness, and we've actually increased homelessness. For the first time in the state's history, we've deployed CHP to Oakland, San Francisco, Bakersfield to combat crime. So I want Gavin Newsom to just look in the mirror. He's the top person in the state. He's the governor. He's running the state with the legislature 100% behind him, and he has zero results for the amount of billions of dollars that he spent driving up the cost of housing, driving up the cost of living in California. So as Republicans, we've stood in the gap, giving opportunities for Californians to vote against this governor and his legislative control over this state. Republicans in California have not controlled a statewide office or the legislature for decades. So he needs to look in the mirror and understand that he's run this state into the ground, quite frankly. This is the greatest state in the nation, the fifth largest economy in the world, a wonderful place to live. But unfortunately, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are leaving California, and as well as businesses are leaving California as well. So we're here to work on the issues. We're not blaming congressional folks for it. We're looking to this building right here, the legislators that are in control, and the governor for the state that is desperately needing more jobs and really needs leadership. I'd like to introduce the Assembly Republican leader, James Gallagher.
Thank you, Senator. And well, we just got this video release, State of the State. And my first impression is this is a person that's on the defensive. This is a person that's kind of unhinged and not willing to take responsibility for being the top leader of this state and not talking about the state of the state. Did you hear anything really about the state of the state? Let me tell you what the state of the state is right now. It's a husband and wife sitting around that kitchen table, head in hands, trying to figure out how to pay the bills. It's parents who are afraid to send their kids to the local park because they're afraid they might be attacked. It's human devastation on our streets in every city. People lost in homelessness. And the problem has only gotten worse since Gavin Newsom has been governor, despite $24 billion being spent. That's the state of the state. And instead we hear Gavin Newsom whining about Fox News. You know, we hear Gavin Newsom complaining about Republican states. We want to know about California. Where's the results? This guy came in here saying that he was going to solve homelessness. And we spent $24 billion to make the problem even worse. This guy came in here saying he was going to be the housing governor. We haven't gotten anywhere near to our housing goals. And instead, he's talking about suing cities. That's his answer. We're going to sue more cities to get more housing. We're not meeting our goals. Seniors on a fixed income are struggling to pay the rent, to pay the utility bills. Where's Gavin Newsom been on that? So we don't hear any substance in this state of the state about the progress being made because there is none. Because quite frankly, that's why he's so defensive, because he has nothing to show to you in this record of accomplishment. Of all the things that he said he was going to do, a California for all, none of it has come to fruition. Not one of them. And I beg the media, please, show us one thing that Gavin Newsom has actually done that's an accomplishment. One thing that actually has improved the lives of Californians. It hasn't happened. And so look, I mean, what we saw today was not a state of the state. It's someone who is very defensive about his record. It's someone who has no record to defend and would rather talk about anything else other than the daily pressures that Californians feel. And so we as Republicans, we want to really work on those things. We want to bring down costs for Californians. We want to look to how do we lower utility bills? How do we lower the cost of housing, which now, fresh off the press, median house price in California is over $900,000. out of Gavin Newsom's Department of Finance, nonetheless. Right? Is that progress? You know, we're seeing we now have one of the highest unemployment rates here in California. I think only DC is beating us at this time in terms of unemployment rate. So we're starting to lose those jobs. We already know we're losing people. You know, and just to sit here and talk about venture capitalists when the majority of Californians are struggling, to me, is tone deaf. And so that's what we saw in the State of the State. It was not a real addressing of the problems that Californians are facing, and we need better. And I'm here to tell you the good news is Republicans do have better, and we've been working on these things. We want accountability for crime. We've been pushing all year to get that, and we're really close. We got a bipartisan package that we need to push through without poison pills, without games, and get this retail package through, and then we need to reform Prop 47. We've been saying that all year. We're really close to doing it. And it would not have happened without Republicans pushing that the whole way. We're about to get accountability for fentanyl drug pushers in this state, something that we've been pushing. They're killing our kids. Far too many people dying of overdoses on our streets. But kids taking one pill, they didn't even know what it was, and dying. We're finally going to get accountability for that. That's because Republicans have been pushing for that. And we have been champions of Californians who want lower costs and who want to see real solutions on homelessness. We've been talking about regional approaches. Let's get the most out of our money, and let's stop spending money on things that don't work. $24 billion, and the audit said they couldn't even track the money. They don't even know where it went. They don't even know what's working. And Gavin has the audacity today to talk about, well, now I'm going to bring in accountability measures. You already spent $24 billion, man. You already put it out there. Now you want accountability? That should have been on the front end. And so, look, Republicans have better solutions. We want to talk to everyday Californians and say, look, we're with you. We sympathize with you. Not with venture capitalists. You know, we sympathize with you, the everyday Californian who right now is struggling to pay all the costs in this state and who wants better for their kids. And so we're going to continue to work on that. That's our State of the State. That's our promise to you. And I think that's what's really important. Not whining, not complaining, not deflecting, but addressing the real issues that matter to you. And that's where we're at. So thank you. I mean, look, for decades.
99 days. Give them the 99
Yeah, good.
days. Yeah. Sorry, I mean, excuse me. You know, Assembly Member Gallagher and I are really good friends, and we banter back and forth. But 99 days, you know, it's like 99 beers on the wall. You take one down, pass it around. I guess that's what they do. But at the end of the day, it's like, come on, man, do what's traditionally there. Come and speak to the legislature. The people that craft the legislation are working on the budget, and be a partner with us. It's like this governor is hiding, but he's talking about national issues when the issues are here at home. You can't afford to go to get a Big Mac anymore. It's $25 to get a hamburger. Why is that in California? The greatest state in the nation. We want deliverables. You know, talked about $900,000 median house income, but the governor can build a 200 square foot room key for $800. So I guess maybe he's doing well. $800,000, that's where that money went. That $24 billion went. At the end of the day, we need accountability. And how do you get accountability? I tell you what the constituents of California need to do. They need to go vote out Democrats who are not paying attention to what's happening in your life every day. We're losing children to fentanyl. Your insurance is skyrocketing. Inflation on steroids. You don't feel safe in your home or your community. We're sending CHP to Oakland, Bakersfield, and San Francisco for the first time in history. What is going on? At the same time, we're running bills to make sure that they're not sex trafficking women in California. Republicans are running those bills. Took us 2 years to get that through and finally get it signed into law. That's ridiculous. 100%. I believe the governor should come and address the legislature, not do a video. For the history that I'm aware of, it's always been done that way. He's addressed the legislature on the state of the state. I believe the reason he didn't is because the state of the state is not very healthy.
What's your reaction to the governor comparing this moment to 1939? You know, he said that like the eve of this fascism rising, we have the same. He's trying to make it. He started the speech with making that direct comparison. Again, you know, the speech was unhinged. It made no sense. For this governor who talks about democracy and just last week made it so that you didn't get to vote. He took the ballot proposition off the ballot, who's been scheming with the legislative leadership to try and get Prop 47 reform off the ballot. You know, so for someone who says he's all about democracy, he sure doesn't want people to vote, and he's sure working to kind of distort and misrepresent. Look at his record. It hasn't been one that's really been supportive. And, you know, look, we're talking about things that really matter to everyday Californians. They want to see accountability for crime. They want to see something done about the cost of living. They want to see real results on housing and homelessness. And he can't talk about those things, so he's talking about 1939 or something. You know, again, like, come to reality. Come back to this state, you know, Governor, and start focusing on the job that you need to do, that you were elected to do.
We're still trying to figure that out too.
Well, you
Definitely
know,
wasn't our constituents.
on him, you know, yesterday to the point of him doing this video. Yesterday we celebrated Willie Brown Day, you know, here in the state assembly. And I'd say ask Willie Brown what he would think if the governor refused to come address the people's body. He would have never. I don't think he would have ever allowed that to happen, because it is important that our governor come and address the people's house. But for 3 years now, he has avoided doing that. You know, refuses to do that. And look, I think it's symbolic of the bigger picture. Is that, you know, Gavin is about Gavin, and he's not about addressing the real issues of the people. And like you said, what did we hear from him? We didn't hear him talking about real people and the things that they're addressing. He's talking about Fox News and talking about venture capitalists who are doing great here in California. Okay, I think that's tone deaf. I think it's sad. I mean, quite frankly, because we've seen what's happened here. The audit clearly showed we're not tracking where this money is going. Demonstratably, homeless has increased in California. All the stats and studies show that. So $24 billion didn't get us much. It made us worse. So, and I think all the governor really said is, okay, now we're going to have accountability and oversight over the money. Well, the money has already been allocated. So it's a little late for that. But now what we should be doing is, yeah, we should be analyzing and figuring out what actually works to solve homelessness and what's not working, and stop throwing good money after bad. But you didn't hear that from him, did you?
The governor's history has been to talk about how much money he's throwing at a program, whether it's housing, whether it's homelessness, whether it's crime. For example, I said earlier, the CHP, he's deploying them. But at the end of the day, what have we gotten for that? That's I think the question that needs to be asked. What did the public, the tax dollar go to? What did we receive? More homelessness, housing worse, crime higher. So that's the thing, is that we say to him, look in the mirror. You're running this place. You spent all the money. Now we don't have any money. And we're driving businesses out of California, driving up the cost of living. And that's what he deflects. He diverts the question. He talks about, what did he talk about? He talked about national politics. He didn't talk about the things that are happening that we're seeing, we're hearing from our constituents every day. Insurance, crime, cost of living. So what's the answer? The answer is come back to California, do your job. Let's get real results, streamline government, streamline regulations, keep businesses here, keep the tax flow going, create jobs, make our communities safe, put criminals back in jail where they belong. Those are the answers that you didn't hear from him. You heard deflecting. You heard about how much money he's going to spend and how much he has in the past, and now he's going to be accountable for it. That's what you hear. And you hear that every single time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter Gallagher.